you need to reap the rewards of being here. How are you, young man?
Good.
Good to see you.
You too.
Oh, good. I get a hug. Well, I want a real hug, buddy. Oh, you smell nice. Whew. Be sure and hug Pat later. It's really good. It smells kind of green. All right, so Pat, how are you doing? How's your business doing?
Doing great.
Okay. What's this year look like? Up, down?
We're about, on average, with about last year. We'll probably do 200-some units.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So you wrote a book, so we're here to talk about that book.
Yes.
All right, so walk me through it. Let's just have fun.
Okay, well, I wrote a book. It's called 6 Steps to 7 Figures.
And why'd you write a book?
The reason I wrote the book was I was thinking one day that I've had over 65 mentors in my life. And I really needed to find a way to start giving back. See, what happened was I had a good friend of mine. His name was Ken Hovind. He died. He got kidney cancer, and he was 46 years old. And Ken was a high school football coach. So, Gary, do you think that a public high school football coach has an opportunity to be a mentor?
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the church, at his funeral, there was eulogy after eulogy from mentees of his that had grown up being coached by him that said things like, Coach Ken always told me to respect my mom because he's had 5 or 10 other kids on his teams that would love to have moms like mine. On and on again, they kept telling lessons that they learned from Coach Ken. And I got out of there and I thought to myself, gosh, I've had 65 mentors, but I don't have any mentees, you know? I'm missing that link, you know? I had this vision of a, do you remember the Barrel of Monkeys when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The thing, I was driving down the road, I had this vision of this monkey that only had one, one arm. And I was thinking that the mentor should be like this. You should be a monkey. You should have one arm like this. And then you should be picking up other mentees with this arm.
Yep.
I'm doing yoga.
Yep. It's awesome.
Crouching
it's impressive.
realtor.
It's impressive.
Yeah. So I wrote the book. And this is the fastest, easiest way for me to give back to the younger generation of realtors.
That's awesome.
Is through writing a book and revealing everything and anything, every mistake I've made, every success I've had in a book.
So walk me through it. So what are going to be the big takeaways from the book?
Okay, well, the big takeaways is basically once I condensed all my thoughts, I realized there was a map to achieving goals. That most people set goals, and then when they don't make the goals, they get disappointed. And the reason that they don't make the goals is because they think it's just going to miraculously happen. You know, they said, I want to lose 15 pounds, or I want to be a millionaire. And then the next day, they don't do anything different. So I found that the reason that they failed when writing down the goals, or after writing down the goals, is because they didn't have a map. So my book is a map with the roads and the trails that will take you to reaching the actual goal. And these are the steps, these are the roads on that map, and you see them right there.
Yeah, so walk me through them real quick.
Okay, so you have a firm. A firm is basically most people set goals and they have hope, but they don't have belief. They are not convinced that they're going to make that goal no matter what. And a firm is the process of making sure you're confident that you're going to make that goal so that you don't quit. Because if you're confident, you're not going to quit. Number 2 is track. Why does Weight Watchers work so well?
That's why.
Period, right? Bottom line. Every successful realtor I've met, and I've met thousands of successful realtors, every successful realtor I've met tracks like crazy. Specific things. I think most people think they're going to have this one mentor is going to be this universally good at everything. I have a different mentor for teaching me how to get foreclosures than I do for teaching me how to get in the luxury market.
Right.
So if you want to get into both, I need a mentor in both.
Right.
Step 5 is work.
Well, and let's go back to number 3,
Yep.
because you make a great point. most people believe that they're self-made, or it's another one of those truthinesses. And as a result, they don't realize that it's not victimish to say, I need to go do something. Who can teach me or mentor me to do it? And they don't understand that. Right. So what you're bringing up is trying to show them why they should do it and how they should do it and why it works.
Exactly. It's great. I mean, I've learned so much. And the thing is, it's free. Right?
Yeah.
It's free. Work. You reap what you sow 100% of the time. And I go back to a story about me and you, Gary. I don't know if you even remember this phone call, but I talked to Gary about over a year ago, and I told you I wanted to have a book and I wanted to get on the bestseller list. And you said, and I said, I'm going to just put it on Facebook and I'm going to make friends with all these people and I'm going to sell it through some internet things and people are going to buy it. And you said, that's never, ever going to happen. You said the only way you're going to be able to sell large quantities of your book is to get out there in front of the agents, market center to market center, agent to agent, and work, speak, travel, or it's just...
And wear cool shirts.
That's right. And so I've been in 48 major cities in the last 8 months, speaking at Keller, a lot of people in the audience, speaking at Keller Williams offices, coast to coast, telling them about my book.
That's awesome. You got to do the work.
So you got to work. Yep, everybody knows that. Building is basically the thought process of every goal that you set, you need to build and map out how you're actually going to get to that goal. And step one in build is to get a journal and journal out, your thoughts. How can I do this? Who can be my mentor? Blah, 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 blah. And then step two in that is find a success up that you can work on. So what is easier, to list a house in a neighborhood where you already have a listing, or list a house in a neighborhood where you've never had a listing?
Right.
Right. So find a small success that you've had and use that to build on a goal that's going to help you get higher and higher. And then the last step is invest. And I think that, you can be I've met a lot of really successful realtors that have no wealth.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have a lot of, I don't know how to say this, they have a lot of ego and a lot of
cash flow.
Cash, you know what I mean? Nice cars, nice houses. They have zero wealth.
Right.
So I believe that part of being successful is investing, taking that money and putting it to work so that your money makes more money than you do.
Right.
Right? You want your money to make more money than you do. And so that's invest.
Well, what's cool is that since the first time I met you, you truly have a giver's heart, and I appreciate that immensely. And everyone who's worked with you and been around you knows that's true. And I know that you've written this from your heart. The second thing is that people make a mistake. They would see this outline and go, well, that's so simple, I don't need to read the detail. Well, that's not accurate. There's more to it than just the words on the screen. The other issue or mistake that people make is they only buy one copy. And the problem with that is that means you're the only one that read it, okay? And the truth is, if you want to change your life, you need the people around you to read it, right? And you need to be reading the same books. It's one of the ways that you find out whether you relate to people or not. And it's one of the ways that you train people, is that you give them books and you say, read this and let's have a conversation about it. And in the process of reading that and having a conversation about it, they grow, you grow together. Or you find out you're not meant to be together because you know what? We don't see things the same way, right? And it's a big mistake out there. In other words, everyone that buys your book should actually say, I need at least 2 copies or 3 copies or 4 copies. If you're building a business, books are the sneaky way to build culture. They are the sneaky way, and the reason it's sneaky is because it's not you making people do something. It's giving them something that you know has value. And when they read it, they're going to be thankful and grateful that you did it for them. And so I mean sneaky in that you didn't say, come in here, I'm going to teach you something. What you do is give them a gift, and in the process of them getting the gift, they're going to turn around and they're going to have an aha. You give it to your kids. You give it to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guarantee if you give it to someone else, that within 12 months or maybe even 2 months, they're going to bring a newspaper article back to you, they're going to bring another book back to you, and you're going to get more knowledge that way just through reciprocity.
Well, this is one of those kind of books. I'm so glad that you wrote it, and because when my son was in early parts of high school, he spent his entire time trying to run away from his mother and I. He could not, right, never invited, we weren't cool parents because we wouldn't allow them to do things they weren't supposed to do. And so we weren't the place they wanted to congregate. My son tells me today that my wife and I are the favorite parents of all the kids, that his friends love us. They show up at our house even when our son isn't there. He's in college, they still show up. We see them regularly. And the reason is because we took, one of the things that I purposely did, Pat, is I took books like this and I would give them to these kids. They would come to our house and I'd hand them a book. And I would say, hey, I want you to read this book. Okay. Next time I saw him, I'd say, did you read that book? Now, in the beginning, my son thought that was the stupidest, weirdest thing on the planet. And he's going, Dad, stop that. Well, that ultimately turned into, during the summer, I would actually pay the kids $50 if they would come in and let me teach them for the day. Or I think it was last summer, I paid them $80 a piece. And John brought all his buddies in. Well, they thought they were coming in for the $80.
Yeah.
But what was happening is I'm taking a book like this and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to teach you the principles today of this. And it's life-changing. So the mistake that people make is they think, oh, one, this is so simple, I heard it, I got it. No, that's not it. You need to get the book and read it. And secondly, you need to buy a couple extra copies, and you need to give it to someone. Now, this is not a long read. The book is how long?
It's 200 pages.
Yeah, it's not it's actually, I devoured it pretty fast. Yeah, so you can actually devour, so it's not going to overly intimidate someone, and they're going to walk out with the value.
Right.
All right, buddy, thanks. Thanks for doing
great.
that. Oh, you smell good.
And we have an ALC special.
Yep,
Your
tell us
team
about
leader,
it. Yep.
We have an ALC special. If you buy a book for everybody on your ALC, we'll give you $5 off a book, $11.95 instead of $16.95.
You're the man. Thank you. Cool guy, by the way. And the thing that he didn't say, because we didn't have a lot of time to discuss this, is how many times he's reinvented himself in order to stay on top. That's a whole nother conversation, but pretty remarkable. How are you?